My name's Anne and I'm working in Fenham in Newcastle upon Tyne.
My name's Rosie and I work in Huddersfield.
I'm Pat and I'm now ministering in Southampton.
I'm Adela, I work in Winson Green, Birmingham.
We've got, I think it's about 22 raised beds now, and a good 75% of those gardeners come in and give this garden a lot of time, and they put a lot of work in. They're here today volunteering for the community event. Some gardeners grow far too much, so there's never an opportunity for them to give away their surplus to community groups, to community individuals we know who need that extra help.
So why, Rosie, is the main aim to close the food bank?
The main aim was from the very beginning to close it, because in this 21st century we shouldn't have such things as food banks. We actually are moving people on. People are becoming more independent from the food bank and being able to move their lives forward. So from the food bank now, what we're setting up is a food pantry where people will actually choose their own food and pay £2.50 subscription per week, and obviously we move them on via the CAB, so sorting out the issues that they're actually in the middle of at the moment.
And we have a CAB person working with us
Yes.
on a regular basis, so after 4 weeks of referrals, everyone sees the Citizen Advice Bureau person.
That's correct, and then he signposts them into whichever area that they have issues with and sorts them out that way.
I'm Vicky and I work in Derby.
I'm Mal and I'm now working in Blackburn.
I'm Simon, I work in Sheffield.
I'm Alison, I currently work in Tungmore in Bolton.
I've been involved with the Building Bridges project since the very beginning, and perhaps even before the Building Bridges project came on board. Initially it was a project with quite a few aims, but one of the major aims of the project was to bring younger and older people together and reduce alienation really between the older folk that live in the area. We've moved on since then as well. We've actually had to look at the changing demographics in our areas. Tongmore area has always been predominantly working class white British people, and over the last 4 or 5 years we've had quite an increase in our BME communities, and also an increase in Eastern European people coming to live in the area, and so that has at times been a little bit of a challenge. So obviously we identified the need in this area, and that was added when Alison joined us on board a few years ago. That was actually added to one of our Building Bridges targets, was about intergenerational work. So we've moved on from there now, and that culminated in us having a celebration event last year. We're having another one this year because of its success, and that actually was celebrating different ethnicities and cultures. And the feedback that we've got from people has been absolutely amazing, really. It was really well received in the Tong area. Going back to the original aim of the project, the intergenerational work, that's also seen some real good successes in the area. We've got a luncheon club, which we've had now for many, many years. It's still going strong, in spite of some challenges, which we've actually had to overcome. That is still really good. People enjoy coming. It's nice that older folk come into the centre, which is predominantly for children under 5. However, our children now, we're seeing older people coming in, sitting in the centre and using the centre, which is really good. There's also been other stuff going on in schools in terms of intergenerational work, which again has been really well received.
I became involved with church about 8 years ago, when I just felt this need to join a church. Pat Oliver, who was a CICW at the time, kind of, I suppose, prompted that even more, because she was involved with talks with local community groups and volunteers about turning a derelict building into a community hub. That came into fruition when we opened the Fusion Centre, which is a vital community hub in Tongmore. Through that, the links that have been made with other agencies, the volunteers we've had in, just the community involvement has been absolutely brilliant. And as time went by, I realised that being involved with this community is something I'm really passionate about. That's been encouraged by the church through the Building Bridges project, where we forged links with other agencies in the community. We've done community events. We've now got Alison as our CRCW, and Alison's knowledge and skills has been amazing really, and especially at Fusion, where we've been able to link Alison up with people that come into the centre. Through that involvement, they're now coming to church. Her skills and expertise have been brilliant. She supports the community, she supports the volunteers. It's just reinforced how much I do actually love being involved with the community. I feel from a faith point of view, I'm exactly where God wants me to be. When you see people's lives changing and you see the interaction with people, and then you're using their knowledge, it's brilliant to see, and I just want this to continue and this to grow.
I'm Jo. I'm in my final year of studies as a CRCW, and I'm on placement in Brixton in South London.
I think there is a need for a memory cafe in this country, all over. There are about 850,000 people living with dementia in this country, so there is plenty of scope to open memory cafes. Memory cafes offer a welcoming, safe environment that includes everybody. It gives people living with dementia the opportunity to socialise, which may not be available at many other places.
We enjoy coming here, meeting people. A lot of them are the same faces now because it's a continuous thing. Nobody mentions the diseases, what they suffer, what the problem is, and that you just all treat each other the same. We get on all right. The activities that go on here, we all come, look forward to activities that you can either sit and talk, please yourself, it's entirely up to you. There's no rules and regulations really. You can come, you can sit and talk, you can meet people, you can talk to people, you can play games, you can set up different activities or whatever goes on. I think we look forward to them. You can go into the choir room where they play the music and that, and join in and have a sing along. And it doesn't matter if you're rubbish, because nobody's bothered, you know what I mean? You can just join in and enjoy it, and that's really the main thing really. We look forward to meeting people and getting to know them, and it becomes one big family unit really.
I think music and singing is important for people with memory loss because it acts as a trigger. That's the word I would use. A song can trigger back memories that will be very clear and come to life and be very meaningful. It can remind a person of a certain time frame, and whereas other parts of their memory might be eroding, being able to actually link a song or some singing to a particular time in their life can actually give comfort and be reassuring and give them confidence and boost their self-esteem.
I think it's important for the church to be involved purely simply because they do have access to a lot of older people and younger people through the community that have got memory problems, so they can explain to them what is available for them within the church, in the cafes. So I think it could be a first port of call for some people.
My name's Liz and I work at Levens Human Spire in Manchester.
And we have provided space for people to tell us. We were expecting to hear stories about public space and public transport and public services. We'd done all these different stations, but people didn't want to tell us about whether they'd been abused because of their religion or whether they felt that they'd been stigmatised because they were gay. They told us about universal credit. They told us about the infrequency of buses. They told us about access of roads because of potholes. And so you got the sense that this is not about identity politics, this is far more about poverty and austerity and how we can help people with that. Often you can hear about hard to reach people or it's really hard to speak to people, but by providing a listening ear today we've heard some really interesting stories. Some people came in genuinely because they were hungry, because we had free food. But then the stories we heard about how their lives spiraled out of control because there was no DLA, or how they felt about not being able to get a job and how the job centres worked. People are really struggling in society, and I think it will be interesting as an inclusive community centre to think how we can support these people and and get to know them a bit better and see where that takes us on our journey.